Welcome back. Today we have Eve from Let's Make a Difference.
Eve, 17 years old. She has autism and selective mutism. She shares her challenges at school and her fantastic social media page, Let's Make a Difference. Enjoy the show. We've got Eve with us today.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank
Hi,
you for... Where
Eve.
did you come from? Where did you travel from?
Leicestershire.
Leicestershire. And
3
the journey was
hours?
okay?
Yeah, it was all right, Jenny.
No, not
Not
even
quite
3
3
hours.
No?
No, closer to 2.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So I know this is your first ever podcast and we've got the luxury of having you on, which is so exciting. You're going to smash it. We just want to hear your story. I know that obviously you've got a big social following and you help probably thousands and thousands of people with sign language.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Tell us about you, because I know that you may have a diagnosis as well. So it'll be interesting to hear you.
So right from being little, I suffered with selective mutism. So somebody new came into my house. My mum used to have to tell people that came, just don't talk to her. Wait for her to talk to you because she's not going to talk first. She doesn't want to be your friend until you're not talking to her, and then she wants to be your friend. I went to primary school. Things were okay. I'd answer the register. Wasn't particularly one for volunteering an answer, but I would answer the register, I'd talk to my friends. Went to high school and everything switched. I lost all ability to speak, couldn't answer the register, really struggled to talk to my friends, was completely silent.
Wow.
I was really fortunate in some ways that it was the COVID pandemic when I was in year 7. So we went into lockdown, which really rescued me from all kinds of torture.
You didn't
bullying.
have to have to socialise as much, did you, I suppose?
So it avoided a lot of bullying for me in that time, because obviously if you're the kid that doesn't speak, kids are going to notice that.
Yeah.
And so I was taught sign language during the pandemic. I did my level 1.
Who taught you?
I did an online course with British Sign.
Mm-hmm.
.co.uk, I think. And I did my level 1 with them. And I then went back to school knowing that I could communicate in a different way. So I taught my friends a couple of signs over Teams or Zoom over that time so that they could communicate with me. So the things that kids take for granted, like when you go to high school, having to ask to go to the toilet, having to ask to take your blazer off or whatever, I didn't have the privilege of. And so I was able to then ask those things.
Did the teachers start learning it for you, or?
So some of them were really supportive and were straight on it. One of my teachers, who was my mentor, took on every bit of information she could. She started a sign language club, which she helped me run, and we taught other kids. And then other teachers told me that I needed to stop wafting my hands about and I needed to learn to use my words, and I'd get nowhere in life.
Charming.
Wow, lovely.
Yeah, totally.
So can we I need to rewind, because this is who I am. I'm also a life coach. I work with kids, not that you're a kid anymore. And I need to know. So primary school, no struggles. Had friends?
No, she said she did. She had struggle to speak to her.
I struggled to communicate, but it wasn't completely awful. I was bullied a lot in primary school. I really struggled with friends. I switched between 2 different primary schools. My second primary school was great. I did really well. My first primary school was a total nightmare.
And do you remember why it was a nightmare?
Yes. One of my strongest memories of my first primary school was I was friends with this group of girls. We've been friends since reception. I left that school in year 4, so I was
5 years.
Yeah, so I was there for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I've been friends with them for quite some time, and I'd go to play with them on the playground at break time or whatever, and they'd run away from me. And I was just horrifically, there was just an argument over who was either going to be my friend, which was strange for an autistic person, people arguing over being my friend, or none of them wanting to be my friend and running away from me. And it was really quite upsetting.
And confusing.
Yeah, totally. And just it just didn't seem to be taken seriously, because kids fall out all the time.
Yeah,
She
sure.
looked at me funny.
Yeah.
But it was deeper than that. And so that was really hard.
So you just mentioned autism.
Yes.
So you've got a diagnosis.
Yes.
When did you get that diagnosis?
I was 13. I
Okay.
think.
So you
I was
went
quite
through
early for a girl.
Yeah, but you went through primary school without a diagnosis.
Totally.
And I guess that's because Jade and I both have girls that have got an autism diagnosis from age 3, because they also had global delay and they were nonverbal, et cetera, et cetera. You seem, and I've only met you for 5 minutes, like a very bright, functioning, beautiful, confident. So you probably got really pushed under the table because you weren't displaying typical behaviours. And I know it's different with girls and boys, but unless you've got the delays,
and also being a girl as well, you could mask it very well, probably.
I mean, in my first primary school, I refused to do English. I was given, I was being put into intervention for kids that weren't achieving.
Okay.
And they were going to give me a scribe because I just wouldn't do English.
That's really weird. Do you know what Callie says to me all the time? No English, all the time. And I don't know why. Tell me what it is. Why didn't you like English?
I don't know. I didn't like English and I was incredibly good at mimicking. So, you know, when they put like kids that really struggle all together in mainstream on a table together because it's easier for the teacher to go over and just help that table than whizzing around the classroom. Yeah. And so they put me on that table and I mimicked my way to the bottom of the class.
Wow.
Like that. And then my mum pulled me out because she knew that I was capable. I could read books, but at school I was mimicking not being able to read books. And so she pulled me out and moved me to a different primary school. And within 2-3 weeks, term or whatever, I was top of the class.
Wow.
Yeah, because you seem really bright. And it's funny because you're obviously that bright that you got yourself to the bottom of the class on purpose. And you're that bright to fake it.
Yeah.
So.
And I have no idea why I did it.
Maybe subconsciously you knew you didn't want to be there. And it was your way. Who knows?
So what was it like for mum then? So did the school contact mum a lot to say, you know, we are noticing differences? No communication with the school?
And so when my mum pulled me out and said she was going to pull me out, they did some preliminary tests on me to see whether I was autistic.
Right.
And they turned around to my mum and said, "We're really sorry we failed your child."
Wow.
At least you got an apology.
Yeah.
I mean, at least there was that.
Yeah.
So did your mum and you, did your mum always think that there was something?
Yes, right from very
So when
little.
autism came about, did you think it was going to be that, or you knew about autism before?
My mum knew a lot. The people in my family are autistic.
Fine.
And so my mum knew a little bit about it, probably more than most at the time. I mean, it was still, when I was younger, it was still like vaccines cause autism, which is totally not true. I mean, have you believed whatever you believe causes autism, but I don't believe that's what that was.
Yeah.
And so my mum knew like she was persistent that she was pretty sure.
Yeah.
But it was getting other people to see that. So I was under a paediatrician when I was in my second primary school for autism, and the family support worker was really good. She really believed my mum. She was like, yeah, we're pretty sure.
So it was your mum pushing?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, knowing that something wasn't just quite right. So it wasn't even so much for a label, it was just working it out, what was going on.
And so the paediatrician discharged me because I overheard a conversation between my mum and my mum's friend, and they were discussing the fact that they thought my friend was also autistic, and I said that to the paediatrician, and the paediatrician went, "She shows empathy." Discharged.
Wow. I can't.
I've actually got goosebumps because I'm frustrated from because you hear this too much.
But it was the same as I got my diagnosis by the paediatrician last month or the month before, and then they said, "So I'm going to discharge you. I've got the diagnosis. So now what? Just get on with it, basically."
Yeah, totally.
Like they don't really. Oh, it's just that's for another day. But
this is why people like you, people like us that run our pages, and I know yours is very niche, but you two talk about being autistic as well.
Yes.
This is why people need these pages to show that there is such a wide spectrum with no support, really, apart from the people around us.
Sign language dates back hundreds and hundreds of years. It actually dates back to Leicester.
Oh,
originally.
wow. Okay.
But the sign for autism, I did the other day, and it got masses of comments, people going, "That's not what I use, da-da-da-da-da. There's a sign for autism, why are you fingerspelling it?" And I was shown the sign by a deaf autistic individual, which clarifies that it's probably true. And so I shared that online, and people were like, "That's not the sign for autism." The sign for autism kind of goes around your head, and the association with that is that it's closed off and we're like separate from the world and we are in our own world and whatever.
And that's not going to help.
So I had to take that, and I had to just explain to people that autism's a massive spectrum. You cannot classify autism I mean, for a lot of autistic individuals, they're just normal people. I mean, for some, that probably does fit with the early graspings of autism back from when it originated, because autism will have only been spotted in really severe cases.
Yeah.
And where you
And
could
in
probably
males.
see where they probably were kind of closed off from the world. They didn't want to engage.
Sure.
But it's not, that doesn't fit autism as a spectrum.
No,
No,
but I
and
feel like that's what we're understanding as mums.
I struggle
as well.
with that as well, because I don't feel like that they live in a separate world to us. They live in the same world as you and I. They just deal with life differently.
Oh, totally.
And I did a post about that a couple of days ago, because it really upset me when a lot of people say, oh, she's so gorgeous. She's just in her own world. No. She lives in yours and my world. She just looks at it differently.
Totally. And I really, there was a lot of people that were like, that's not the sign for autism. And I had quite a few arguments with people going, my friend's autistic and they're however old and they don't think this is offensive. And I was like, but some people do. So I'm going to go with the approach that is least harmful to my community. And as an autistic person myself, I find that sign offensive. I'm not in my own world.
Yep.
I'm just the same as you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm just unique.
Exactly.
Like, there's nothing wrong with
but
me.
unique is amazing.
Totally.
I look at Callie and I just think, she can be really quirky and really unique. And I'm just like, you're fabulous.
Yeah.
I actually heard something the other day on a podcast, someone else's podcast, and it said that typical people are the ones with a disability.
Totally.
Neurodivergent people are the ones with the ability, and that has actually changed my mindset so much. Like, forget the special powers that people say or anything.
Yeah.
These people, including yourself, have abilities.
Yeah.
We are the ones with the disabilities because we can't do what you do. That's how I look at it, and I think it's a really good way.
Open-minded.
Yeah. So going back to secondary school, so the second primary school kind of just,
it was brilliant.
Fantastic.
They were so brilliant, other than the paediatrician. But the second primary school was great. I did really well. I made friends. I wasn't, as far as I'm aware, I wasn't bullied. And so things were a lot better. And then high school came.
So
I wanted to ask you, Soph, I wanted to ask you about high school. So when you lost your ability to speak, how long did that go on for?
So I left high school last September.
Did you speak through your high school at all?
For the first, I spoke to a couple of friends that I knew from primary, but a lot of that was COVID. So 2 years of that was in the pandemic.
So you went back to school in year 9?
Yes, end of year 8, beginning of year 9.
Yeah.
And I left last September, and I could count maybe 10, 15 teachers that I left speaking to.
Yeah.
Some of them, if you caught me on the right day, you might get something out of me. But it took 3-4 years for some of those teachers to hear my voice. I went on the radio when I first started my page, and I know an awful lot of my teachers tuned in to be able to hear what my voice sounded like, because they didn't know.
Oh, wow. Do you question in your head, if the pandemic didn't happen, whether you would have gained or developed the selective mutism? Because you were doing great from year 4 to year 6.
Yeah.
You had friends, you were confident, you weren't getting bullied.
Yeah.
So if it was a smooth transition, which is the hugest transition anyway.
Year
going
6
to
to year 7 was fine anyway, because the pandemic didn't occur until the March.
Yes.
But I just didn't speak.
Even this, like day 1 of year 7?
No.
What about at home?
Home was always fine. Like I said, when I was younger, I was funny about people that I'd met for the first time or whatever. I was just shy.
What? Yeah. Tell me more about that, because I'm experiencing this with Callie at the moment. If she doesn't know a person that's in her environment, she's very funny.
Yes.
Why? Why is that?
I don't really. Obviously, these are my mum's and my family's accounts because I was 2-3 years old.
Yeah.
Don't really remember. But for some reason, just like not a safe person. I mean, I had an auntie that I would see all the time, and she was like one of the only people that I'd just walk into her house and be like, Auntie Nikki.
Yeah. And just ramble it all out.
Yeah.
I suppose you just gravitated to who you wanted to, and
who I knew, who was
it's
always
your safe
there.
space. I think safety has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, that's really true. And are you like that now with people that you don't know? I mean, you've just come into our space and not knowing us, and you seem incredibly lovely and confident and okay, but are there scenarios where you're not like that?
I mean, my first day of college was really, really hard. I mean, for a lot of kids, it's just starting another school. But for me, it was a really big thing because I didn't know whether I was going to make friends. I didn't know whether I was going to be able to cope. I had to stop going to high school when I sat my GCSEs. I stopped just after Easter because I was getting chronic migraines because I was so overwhelmed and so stressed out.
Anxious.
I would just spend 6 out of 7 days sat in a dark room because I just couldn't focus. I couldn't do homework. I couldn't revise.
It's really sad.
And so I had to stop going. So I was like, is that going to happen again? It brought so many new issues. And that was a really tricky thing. I mean, I walked in my first day and cried.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Seems like it happens around transitional times.
Yes, very
But
much so.
I mean, if I prepare myself appropriately and I know what I'm going to do, how things are going to be, it'll be fine. But there is days where it's not fine.
Yeah. I mean, did you have to prepare to come in here?
No,
Psychologically
I just
or-
didn't think about it.
Okay.
I just cracked on with it.
That's
that
just the
seems to
best
work.
way.
Yeah.
I think it can be one way or the other. I think it can be like that. Or do you remember when we had Vanessa on the show? I don't know if you know who she is. She's called the Autistic Chef.
Yes.
She mentioned, because she had a late diagnosis, but she said that she has to plan everything before she even goes to a restaurant. She needs to look at the menu.
Yep.
She needs to see where the parking is, blah, 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 blah.
She checked in here as well.
Yeah.
She checked all our podcasts to see where we sat, what we were wearing so that she'd know the temperature.
Yes. And then she noticed that we had swapped seats and
Yeah.
Jade's hair got longer or got shorter.
Got longer than shorter and wasn't in sync.
And it was really confusing for her.
Yeah.
So are you kind of, and I know obviously it's proof, every person is different, but are you now on the mindset that you're just going to you can like kind of block everything and then just go there for the moment?
I mean,
Or does it depend?
It's very dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some things I want to know exactly who you are. I've literally stalked you down to the point, like, I know exactly how to imitate your accent or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, some people I just need to know.
Yeah.
But other times it's just fine.
It's kind of
Just
all
go
or
with
nothing,
it.
isn't it?
Yeah.
You're either all in or you're just...
Yeah, it's like either raging autism or no autism.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love that you can switch it on or off.
I mean, it's not my choice.
No, I understand that. So you mentioned before we started that you have was it a sister?
Yes.
And she also has a diagnosis, but of ADHD.
Yes.
Is she older or younger than you?
Younger.
Okay.
Although she looks older because she's taller.
Well, you are a very little sweetie,
Yes.
tiny little girl. Okay. So, and can you see the difference? You're just autistic, aren't you? You don't have ADHD.
Yes.
Can you see the difference? Because they are like polar opposite,
But so similar.
but so similar.
Yes. We clash sometimes, so that's very it's very obvious. When I do things a certain way, I'm like, that's the way to do it, and my sister does it a different way. I'm literally twitching, going, "Why are you doing it that way?" And she's there like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm literally like twitching in the corner.
Oh, I can imagine shaking,
Yeah.
stimming, whatever you
I'm
need to do.
literally just like, please stop.
Yes.
And then other times we get on really, really well, and we relate really well on certain things. Like things at school are very different for us because she's chatting everybody's ear off and will not shut up.
Yes.
Whereas I'm only like that at home.
Yes.
Whereas my sister's like, can I speak?
Yes.
When
You're
I'm
like,
like,
no,
no, this is my time. We're at
Yeah.
home now.
I've masked all day. Yeah. I've kept it all in. I'm letting it all
Yeah,
out
and
now.
and my sister has to. I'd be like, can I speak?
So
And
where
I'm
are you
no.
now? So
Yeah.
you finished your education.
I'm in college currently.
You're currently in college, and
Yes.
what are you studying?
I'm doing psychology, criminology, and business.
Oh, I
Brilliant.
love criminology.
Oh, me too.
I mean, it's not my favourite
Oh,
subject.
really?
No. I originally wanted to just go and do business, but...
You have to do more than one, don't
Yeah, I
you?
have to do 3 A-levels.
Yeah.
And so criminology is my least favourite of them all.
Okay, and I want to know 2 things. I want to know what it's like at college for you now with the selective mutism, if there is any, friendships, and then I'll ask you the other question.
Friendships I really struggled with until recently, and now I've really found my group of people.
Brilliant.
They're really lovely. They all want to be my friends. They're not just there for like
And they
the
all
fame or
they
whatever.
all
Yeah.
know as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're all very... I'm not down for hiding it.
No,
I'm
of course
just
not.
like...
You shouldn't.
No, because I'm like, it just causes more problems in the long run.
Yeah.
But we say that, don't we,
Yeah.
Jade? Because our children can't speak for themselves yet.
Yeah.
We just always say we want a label on our head, just being like, autistic, stop looking at the quirks and stop looking at You are now, my mum's the same. She will walk in the street and she'll say, my daughter Callie, my granddaughter, she's got autism.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm so proud of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're proud of your autism.
Oh, totally.
I love
There's not
that.
a day where I'm not proud to be autistic. I mean, there's some days where I'm literally just like, right, autism over with, don't want it, go away. Because there's the days that are really hard.
Of course, they can't always be easy.
But the days that are really good, I'm just like, having autism's the best.
I mean, look at your social medias. You're on every type of social media
ridiculous.
platform with combined, you said over 1 million followers.
Yeah.
You've built that for yourself.
Oh, totally.
Forget the business at college. You don't even need a degree. You've sorted it out for yourself.
I mean, I went to look around at some universities because I'd like to look around those early, kind of explore my options, because there's things like degree apprenticeships and stuff out there now too. And the woman looked at me when I went and spoke to her, and she was like, "Why are you here?
You don't need to be here.
Go home.
Don't get a loan. Don't pay it back for the rest of your life. Just crack on with your business."
So talk to us about your Instagram page, what you promote, what you do.
So I share a sign of the day every single day, pretty much every day.
Yeah.
I have to ask, I love that you wear the same top. It's like in unison and it matches.
I pre-film everything.
Okay.
That's why.
So you do a few in each go.
So I film a month at once.
Oh, wow.
I thought maybe that was some sort of like OCD thing that it had to look to a certain point.
No. I used to do a single sign every single day, but that doesn't always fit with your time schedule.
So true.
Like, I mean, if you're going to like a theme park or whatever, sometimes you're not getting home until really late. I'm like, I do not want to be putting on a full face of makeup or whatever.
100%.
To
We
film
say
a
the
sign of
same.
day.
We're like, we've got nothing to post
At 10
tonight.
o'clock
Yeah,
at
forget
night,
it.
I'm
Okay,
like,
so
no.
you pre-record,
Have you ever
pre-film.
missed a day?
There has been I took a gap
Okay.
2 years ago now, where I just switched from filming every day to bulk filming. I happened to be on holiday over the time anyway, so I was just like, I'm taking a holiday.
Yeah, good for you.
But in the last year, I haven't missed a single day.
Wow.
I don't care if it's 11:30 at night. I'm sat on my phone sharing sign of the day.
And you
And
will
my
then
mum was like,
post it
"Go
on
to bed."
every platform once
Yep.
that day.
Yep.
You'll just post it all around.
Every single day.
And where do you see not the best result, the best feedback, the most engagement type of, on which platform?
Oh, so my biggest platform is Instagram, but the most engaging is probably Facebook, in terms of the fact that people get very controversial on Facebook in terms of opinion. So I have a lot of followers that won't realise that American Sign Language is entirely different.
Right.
And so they're all like, this is not American Sign Language.
Ah, okay.
And I'm like, correct, you can read.
Yes. So you mentioned before, explain to people listening, it's British Sign Language.
Yes. But in SSE. So that
SSE,
stands
yeah.
for Sign Supported English. So that's British Sign Language
But you've
put
toned
into the
it.
order of
Yeah.
spoken word. So for BSL, they'd say, name you what, and we'd say, what's your name? And so SSE puts that back into the order of spoken word.
That makes
And
more
you
sense
also
to me.
Yeah.
speak alongside the sign language. Obviously, for me, I really struggled with my speech, so it was just SSE on its own. But I'd mouth the words, or my friends knew what I was saying anyway because of context. So that puts things in a different order.
Yes.
And so I find it easier to teach people that way. So unless you come from where your first language is a European language, it makes it harder if you're English because of the way we structure our speech.
Got you.
Yeah.
So like in French, they'd say instead of the red coat, they'd be like the coat red. So it makes
Okay.
it easier because the order's different in BSL. So it's easier to teach somebody foreign BSL than it is to teach somebody English, unless you've grown up around that culture.
Fine.
Did your family have to learn it? Because you didn't have the selective mutism at home, so they didn't have to.
I mean, they try and learn certain things. So we're part of a local theatre group, which is one of the only all-inclusive theatre groups in the country, which happens to be award-winning as well.
Fantastic.
May I mention?
Fantastic.
Got to drop that in there.
Absolutely.
And so we do things like, we did a song in sign language for our finale, for our panto. And so they pick up different bits and pieces. But I mean, my sister's got ADHD and so does my mum. And so they're trying to cope with everything else in their brain alongside learning another language is just not.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I suppose they didn't really need to learn it because you spoke when you went home.
Yes.
So.
And I mean, if my mum's there, I'm more likely to speak anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, she's your mummy.
But my friends, they, like my new friends, have all just gone, oh my gosh, that's really cool, and learned it anyway, because my friend that I made friends with at the very start of January, he could speak Morse code. And he was like, right, let's just add that to the list.
Fantastic.
So,
love that.
Sign language, and now he's trying to teach me Morse code. It's not going too well.
No, I mean, it's even when you were saying French before, there's like different accents on, and there's the, I'm not even going to say what, because I don't even know it all, but
Yeah, it's complicated.
That's the words. We'll just say it's complicated. Yeah, so I can imagine. What was it like for you? You mentioned that you had select mutism, and then you reached out to your friends during the pandemic and was like, I'm now going to speak to you in sign.
Yeah.
Like, that must have been so difficult for you to even discuss that with them, and then not knowing what their reaction was going to be back.
I just cracked on with it. I was just like, right, I'm learning sign language. If you want to, that's cool. If not, no.
You're very inspiring.
I was just so blunt about it. In true autism style, was just blunt about it and was just like,
black and white, black and white.
If you want to do it, you can. If you're not, okay, we're not friends.
Yeah, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And that didn't concern you at all?
No, not for 1 minute. I was in a pandemic. I was living my best life at home.
You must have loved the pandemic.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I would do anything for another...
People pray for it to come back, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, I'd do anything for another 2 weeks, turn 6 months off. Like, what a win.
Yeah, well, for you,
yeah,
I would be kicking the walls and losing my mind, but no, some people, they really rely on it, don't they?
I mean, it made learning so much easier because all the distractions of a classroom, I could just turn the sound off, put the subtitles on, or just turn the sound off and walk away.
Yeah, and just not do it and learn it in your own time.
Yeah,
because that's like Callie as well. She is in a mainstream classroom.
Yeah,
but the teacher said she can't sit down and learn like everyone else, but she knows everything.
Oh, yeah,
while
totally.
She's playing with her dollies and they're speaking, she picks up everything. She's just as bright as
just
them.
Always listening.
But in your own ways. And it's, good for you.
Always listening.
It's just about educating people, and I think that's what
it's about people accepting that things can be different. Doesn't mean that they're weird. Yeah. And that not everyone is the same, because this world would be very, very boring if everyone was walking around the same.
I mean, at high school...
It's acceptance.
When I started signing, the school were then like, oh, this looks really good. We'll take this on. So I went to a Catholic school, and so they'd have me taking part in assemblies, in masses. They were just literally anything they could throw it into.
Wonderful that they accepted it and wanted to be part of it.
But the kids had a different reaction. So there was a lot of kids taking the mick. There was a lot of kids hating on my profile. I mean, at the time, the safeguarding lead who was in charge of bullying and stuff was really helpful. And he would either do something, but if it was left to somebody else, nothing would be done about it.
I think at that age as well, I think a lot of it probably came down to jealousy.
Yeah,
100%.
Being different. They just didn't like it, and they just thought it was stupid. And now I went to college, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, this is really cool."
It's so cool. It's so cool.
I mean, when I go and teach in other schools and stuff, when I go and do workshops and tell them about me and whatever, and take some resources to teach them the alphabet or whatever, the kids are like, well, this is really boring. And now I go, imagine being able to communicate with your friend across the classroom without you using your words.
They're like, let me learn.
Yeah, they're all just like, ooh, yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, it is so fun.
I'm like, don't worry, I'm leaving these resources with your teachers too.
I can imagine you being a really good teacher.
I'd really love to be a teacher. I don't think they're paid enough, and I think they should be paid more.
I think it's one of the most toughest challenging jobs ever.
Totally.
Yeah.
But to be the teacher that I so desperately needed when I was in primary school or was in high school, that understood and was there for me and could give their 100% all the time and never doubted that, is what I needed. I mean, I'm so blessed that my head of sixth form, I go to sixth form college. Yeah. She's so lovely. She's so supportive. She is literally prepared to run headfirst into anything that I come to her with.
That's amazing.
Like, I'm like, Miss, do you want to do sign of the day? She's like, I don't like being on camera, but okay.
Oh, and she'll do it for you.
Yeah. She's like straight on it.
I love that.
She's the best. I love her so much. She's a great teacher.
I feel like you're on this planet to change the world.
Yeah.
I really do. Sitting here listening to you and what you've achieved and what you're doing at such a young age, honestly, you can inspire so many people.
I mean, I said to my mum when I started,
Got goosebumps.
Let's Make a Difference, I was like, I might not be able to change everything in my lifetime, but I at least want to make the footprint for somebody else to continue that on.
Brilliant. You have to keep going with it,
Because
seriously.
you can't, change doesn't come about from sitting there and going, oh, it'd be really great if this happened.
This
No,
is
you're
what
right.
we say.
We
We
always
say
say
we've got
this.
so many different plans, but it's like we've got to do it.
Yeah, totally.
Can't just sit there and think about
You've got
it.
to put those things into action.
Yeah, exactly. So where do you see your future then?
I don't really know. There's so many different things that I'd love to do. I'd love to go into broadcast journalism because I like telling people stories. I think it's so important that everybody has a chance to have their story heard because I was silenced for a lot of mine.
Yeah.
But I also would really love to be a teacher because I want to be that teacher that I desperately wanted and needed.
Yeah.
But I'd also like to continue with Let's Make a Difference and make that a full-time thing. But social media is not permanent.
Sure.
And
It's just
tomorrow
not-
I could wake up and have no followers. I
Quite
mean,
doubtful, but yes.
No, but
cancel culture's so big though
Yeah.
that it can just happen overnight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a risky position that you
It
put
is.
yourself in.
But you're just taking it and living it for the day and enjoying it, and
totally.
it's brilliant for you.
Yeah.
Got a
it's a
smile
win.
on your face.
Yeah, you're an inspiration. You are.
Thank you.
But did you see yourself ever getting to where you are now?
No.
So how amazing is that?
I mean, I didn't start Let's Make a Difference with the intention of being famous. I started Let's Make a Difference with the intention that other people who knew me, like my friends at school, found it easier to learn one sign at a time rather than, here you go,
Here, 100%.
try this.
Yeah, of course. When did you actually start your page? How old were you when you started it then?
It was 3 in October, so we're like 3.5 years old almost.
Yeah.
So 2021.
And you have gained over 1 million followers in 3 years.
Yeah.
You're making a difference, girl.
There's no rhyme or reason to it though.
No. And how did you bring up how did you create your name?
Just wanted to make a difference.
Just came. It just came.
It just felt right.
Yeah.
It just felt right.
So with the social media, you obviously, as you said before, you never know what.
Tomorrow brings.
Yes. But you're just.
Going with it.
Yeah.
Going with it all the time.
And we mentioned before that TikTok for us is like the hate.
Yes.
We can't post anything. I mean, I even posted, I don't know if you saw it, Jade. I posted about, we had a marriage counsellor on.
Yeah.
And I said, my husband texted me saying he's emptied the dishwasher. So I said, like, what do you want? Like,
A medal?
Okay.
it went so awful for us. They were like, you should be thanking your husband. And I was like, you've
just
got
a
no,
normal
it's
task.
just, I don't need to know about it. But, anything
Yeah.
can make something offensive to someone.
totally.
But you kind of,
It's like when the boys said that they stay in the car to get a few seconds and we got backlash like, yeah, probably to stay away from you girls and you ugly, whatever.
yeah, just horrible. People are horrible. But I feel like you obviously will get a lot of hate because there's going to be certain terms when it comes to the signing. As you mentioned before, American Sign Language will be different to British and the SSE
Regional
side.
variations. So, like there's an accent between London and Manchester
Yeah.
and Birmingham
You're going to
and
piss
Liverpool.
someone off.
Yeah.
Totally, all the time. But
All for it.
there's accents in sign language as well, which make a huge difference where people are like, no, that's my sign. No, that's my sign. No,
Wow.
no.
But I feel like you, even with the autism, I guess actually the autism probably benefits you in your favour.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You don't, it
Doesn't
doesn't,
faze
it
her.
doesn't, yeah, it doesn't get to you.
Eventually it does. When
Okay.
you receive so much of it, when you just like, oh, that really bothers you. Like one hate comment can just be the tipping point and that really bothers you for ages.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through a bit of a phase where I was like, I feel like a bit of a fraud doing this. Like, this is not my language. People were making me feel really bad for it. And then I have a lot of deaf creators that follow me and people that I'm friends with in the deaf community on Instagram follow me. And I just go in and check in with them and I'm like, I've not done anything wrong to offend anybody. And they're like, no, this is fine. And so eventually it does get to you. But I mean, a lot of the time I'm just like, congratulations, you can read. Somebody commented, must have been over a year ago now. They just put, you're retarded.
Lovely.
I just replied with, I must be because I'm talking to you like you're worth my time. Also, for future reference, it's retarded.
Honestly, it's like
Somebody said, you don't look autistic. I hope you get better. I just replied with, I think it's terminal.
That's amazing. I was just say, honestly, people, they just have no idea.
No.
What did
But do you
someone
think
say
that's
something
because
to you
they're
recently?
so
I
uneducated?
can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I didn't understand what it meant though, so I left it.
But some things people say, or
You've
it's
just got to be witty in the way you come
someone
back at
said
it.
to me, when will Callie stop having the autism? Like, when will it go? And I was like, go where?
What do you mean?
But seriously. But this is
But
why
do
we
you not
have
think
to
that's
keep
a lot of
educating.
people? Yeah, a lot of people are. Some people I'm sure are doing it to be nasty or jealousy.
totally.
But I think a lot of it is down to uneducated. But then it upsets me because they'd rather put a disgusting post up like that. A comment than actually educate themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. I mean, there was a massive point a couple of years ago now, maybe 1-2 years ago, in high schools where everybody was like, oh, that's so autistic. I mean, it's still a massive thing now where people on TikTok are like,
What?
I did a cartwheel, that makes me so autistic or whatever.
What?
And there was kids using the word retarded and throwing it around like it was just like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And that
there
word was always in our
There was
generation.
a massive thing at high school and it really upset me because I was like, I'm walking around school hearing kids call each other retarded and that word stems back to what I have.
Sure.
And that's so
trigger.
autistic. You're not autistic because you did a cartwheel. Like, no,
Honestly,
you're just stupid.
yeah, or that's a bit of the tism there or something
think
like
it's
that.
just
We
taking the
can
piss.
say it, but they can't say it.
No. Like, I'm like, you wouldn't use the M word or the F word.
Sure.
Like, they're just not acceptable
Yeah,
words.
they're
to use
words,
in
but then
society.
exactly.
Why is retarded not the same? Because that's the way. Like,
Sure.
That's still discriminating
Of
against
course
somebody.
it is. I have a question.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to answer. I always have one of these
I know.
questions.
You don't
don't
have
I?
to if you don't want to.
Okay.
You've always struggled socially.
Yeah.
You've had friends, the friends have gone, you've got new friends.
Yeah.
Da, da, da. What's it like in relationships for you? Not that I'm saying you're in one or you've ever been in one, but could you see yourself with someone eventually?
I mean, personally,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I haven't got time for that.
Okay.
Moving on.
Fine. So it's
Like-
not even something that's crossed your mind.
I mean, I've thought about it.
yeah.
But obviously, most people think about that because they're like, well, what's my future going to look like?
Yeah.
I'm going to live with someone. Da, da, da. I'm like, no, I just want to move out and have a dog because I have a paranoia of somebody breaking into my house.
Okay. So the dog is
I
the
just
dog
need a
is the
dog.
safety bit.
Yeah, I'm just like, I just need a dog and a house and I'll be all right.
Fine. So there's never been that. And as you said, it is like lots of people would think it. And I'm sure lots of your friends may have boyfriends or girlfriends or they've gone and kissed someone on the weekend. I'm making it up. But that's just not in Eve's world at the moment?
It doesn't really interest me. I mean, at some point it might come along in my life
Yeah, it
and
might
I might
change.
be like, okay. But currently, I mean, one day I might like to have children of my own,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm currently like, I have younger cousins that I look after and I'm like, oh yeah, that's enough to put me off for at least another 10 years.
Honestly, I know. I've just had a new nephew and I love him so much. But people are like, you must be so broody. I said, no. I'm not.
I just love how literal you are.
Yeah.
Literally.
No, but it's great because
It's
just,
unbelievable.
like,
Yeah.
it's really, it
It is what
really
it is
great.
for now. You'll
Yeah.
deal with it if you have to deal with it. You're very like boom, 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 boom. And I
Yeah.
actually
But
quite
you've
like
got
that.
a
You
good
know where you
mindset.
stand.
Nothing's like, and obviously this is just a 45-minute
Yeah.
chat and we don't
Yeah.
know what you're like all the time with other things, but you kind of just come across that you don't get overly phased unless it's something that triggers you.
Sometimes.
Yeah. It depends what it is. But
Yeah.
can it be anything that
Yeah.
triggers you? Yeah.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, an exam is my favourite thing in the whole world.
You're strange in the best way possible.
Because it's so quiet.
It's because it's quiet. They used to petrify me.
Because it's so quiet. Because I can't think if it's too loud. And so exams are great. But if I'm in a room that has more than 10, 15 kids in, I'm like, that's like sitting in a classroom. You've told me you're going to put me in a small, quiet room.
Yeah.
I can't cope to sit in a normal
That's not the
classroom to sit in
truth.
an topic exam.
Yeah.
Why have you put me in a classroom? Like,
Yeah.
this is not like that an instant trigger.
Yeah. And then will it affect your exam?
Potentially.
Yeah.
If I've got enough time to re-regulate and just be like,
Yeah, what do you
it
do?
is what it is.
How do you regulate yourself or how do you get yourself out of that mindset once you're in it?
Mum.
Really?
Mummy.
I'm just like, I need my mum.
Do you need to talk it through? How do you like...
1,000,001 times we must have the
Okay.
same discussion
Your mum
That's
sounds
okay.
like a superhero.
for the same
Over and
discussion.
over again.
And do you know
Over
what? Your
and
mum would
over.
probably do it forever if it meant that you were happy.
And she
Yeah.
can probably understand you. You said she's got ADHD, and I know obviously ADHD and autism are different, but she's got her way of thinking, you've got your way, she can understand it.
And
they
they
definitely overlap, of course they do.
Yeah. She sees very rationally, so she'll hear me out and be like, well, I totally get that, but where else are they going to put you in this exam? Like, you've just got to crack on with it. There's going to be a time in your life where you've got to sit in a room and fill out a bunch of paperwork, potentially in an office or whatever, in front of a bunch of other people. You've just got to get on with it.
I like that because it's not pandering to you.
Yeah.
It's not, you know,
My mum
not giving
never-
into it because you're not giving into it, but it's literally like...
It's validating the feeling.
Yes, exactly. But then it's also, in reality, you just have to get on with it.
Yeah, totally.
So I think that's an amazing way.
World, unfortunately, as much as I'd really like it to, the world's not going to change to conform to neurodiversity.
Yeah.
Even though we should, like, I mean, everybody goes around
should
parading
just be.
that they're all accepting. We're an all-inclusive business, But
To an extent.
it's never going to be a world made for neurodiverse people.
I know. And that's what really, really makes me sad and nervous and scared for
As a mother.
my children's generation.
I mean, for a lot of my followers, I often get stories. So I've been nominated for a National Diversity Award.
I did see that.
For a positive role model for disability.
Fantastic.
And so I asked people to, because it's a completely anonymous thing.
Yeah.
So I don't get to see the names or anything. I just get to see the stories. And because it's not being shared publicly online, I wouldn't ever... Like, if somebody said, oh, she's making a real difference or whatever, I'd share it. But these are people's real life stories with their own children. And so I get to see some incredible stories of how I've brought hope to families that thought their kids were never going to be able to speak, or they were never going to communicate because they've got this diagnosis or that diagnosis, and they thought that was the end for their child, and that's just the way it was going to be. And their child has really engaged with my content, or they've engaged with my content as a family, and they've seen a different side to their child. Really makes
everything worthwhile.
Because it's the providing of the hope. I mean,
you're giving them hope.
Without the hope of dreams and things in the future, there's never anything to look forward to. So, I mean, I hope one day that I'll have 1 million followers on Instagram. Whether that'll happen or not is
manifest.
Yeah.
You absolutely will.
But like, I hope one day that I'll be able to survive in a job, and that I will have a really great community and a friend group and a really nice life and whatever in the future. But if I didn't have that hope, I probably wouldn't have started Let's Make a Difference. Probably just been like, I mean, when I was told that I needed to stop wafting my hands about and that I needed to learn to use my words, otherwise I get nowhere in life, that could have really put me off and just gone, do you know what? No, that's it. I'm just not going to engage in your school system or whatever. But that lit a fire inside me, and I was like, do you know what? Let me prove you all wrong, Care, that I'm going to make something of myself.
And you've definitely done that,
And I'm
kid.
not even old enough to be unemployed.
You're unbelievable. And I think that's where we should end it, because I think you're a
100%.
success story.
Yep.
And I think you're a wonderful person, and you've got to keep going. So thank you.